Toaster says he's sorry for interrupting and he might do it again. Are you gonna be good? Are you gonna be a good boy? He's just looking at me. Hi everyone, my name is Natalie, also known as Knitty Natty. Welcome to the 32nd episode of the Love and Stitches podcast. Today is Tuesday, September 18th. Nope, it's Wednesday, September 18th. See, I normally record on Tuesdays, but because I had a lot going on yesterday, I am recording on a Wednesday. So now I'm all thrown off. It's Wednesday, but I think it is September 18th. Things look darker, maybe not to you. I don't know. I feel like things are looking darker than they usually are. You know, the sun is changing. It's a different time of year, so things are kind of different, but we are starting to enjoy some like 90-ish degree days, like high 90s and low 90s, which is so much better than 100 degrees. So I am really loving that. Okay, let's move right into finished objects because I actually have a couple this week. So the first thing I have is a finished pair of socks. They're sort of like little ankle socks. And the main color here is Polyjuice Potion by Lolo Did It. I think I even brought the tag this week because last week I couldn't remember what it was called. But here's Lolo Did It's tag, and it is the colorway Polyjuice Potion. And the green, I don't remember what the green is. It was a mini I picked up a couple years ago when I was like traveling to different yarn shops, and I don't think it even had a label anymore. But these are just, I think I did these, I think I did them cuffed down. I think I don't remember anymore, and I just finished them. I don't remember, but these are for me, so I did 60 stitches and I did 65 rounds for my foot. I wear like a women's 8 and a fish lips kiss heel. And then for the leg, you know, it's sort of a leg, I did maybe, I have it on my Ravelry page, 15, 20 rounds and then a 20 round cuff. I don't remember anymore, and I just finished these last week. That's so funny. But I think I'm gonna like that length. It'll be just enough for it to stay on my foot, but not too long to make me hot. So these are all done and blocked and woven in and completely finished, and so they are gonna go in my little sock box. I also have some, well, I cast on a new pair of socks, which I'll share in a minute, but I also have some yarn that I think I'm gonna use next. And you know what? I'll show that in a minute too. I don't even know why I mentioned it. My other finished object is not quite finished yet, but it is a can cozy. And this is a design that I am working on that's gonna be part of my Fall Means Football collection. I already have a bottle cozy that's called the Classic Bottle Cozy. It's out, you can go get it now on Ravelry, but I wanted to add a can cozy to the mix. So this can cozy, as you can see, I have it woven in my ends. It starts at the bottom here, it's worked in the round, and you make this like bottom piece, which is really nice because then when you set it down, it's like a coaster, and it's also not sliding off of your can because it's got this part on the bottom. But then it's mostly just ribbing and a little bit of striping. It doesn't take much yarn at all. And then you end with a nice I-cord bind off, which just kind of finishes it. So I thought that I would have the pattern ready to go to testers this week, but I think I'm gonna need a couple more weeks. I just have a lot going on outside of knitting stuff that's preventing me from doing knitting stuff right now, just like regular life things with work and everything. But I will have it out soon. There's really no rush on this one since I'm just doing this pattern on my own. But the navy here I used is Chasing Rabbits, which is a Texas dyer. I think I've got the tag, yeah, right here. That is her logo, Chasing Rabbits. and the colorway is indigo. And then the silver is something that I've just had for a long time, or the gray. So this is sort of like my Dallas Cowboys tester cozy. So I might make a few adjustments on things, I think maybe on the length, because thinking about drinking out of this, you don't really want the yarn in your mouth. So I might need to test this out a little bit, maybe shorten it so that it only comes like to there, maybe. That'll probably be better. So I still have some kinks to work out before it's ready to send off to testers, but once I do send it off to testers, it won't take them long. This is a really quick project, so I'm really happy with that. And that will be the classic can cozy. Okay, so I do have some whips. Since I finished a pair of socks, I needed to cast on another one. Not right away, but I waited a couple days and had to have one ready for the week. So I have cast on the Whispers in the Wind socks, and those are by Crazy Sock Lady Designs, who is Kay, and I have already done a decent amount on these. So let me show you the yarn first. I'm so good, I brought all my labels today. So I am using a Suburban Stitcher yarn. Suburban Stitcher is also a local dyer. She is outside of Houston, Texas. And at DFW Fiber Fest, I picked up this colorway, and it's called Irving, because that's where the Fiber Festival is held. So this is not a colorway that can be purchased anymore. It was just a show colorway. Just want to say that just in case you like it and you want to go get it. I'm so sorry it can't be purchased anymore. But it's like a purpley gray base with just all kinds of colors in it. It's really, really fun. So I got started on the Whispers in the Wind socks, and I'm making the smallest size. It's really small. Her smallest size is smaller than my usual 60 stitches. So let me show you the pattern first, and I'll tell you what I might do if I make these again. So the pattern is so much fun. It's like these little twisty winding things, and I also really like the ribbing because it's got those twisted stitches that really stand out nicely. I am actually done with my leg. She makes a longer leg, I think 6 repeats of this twisty pattern, and I've only done 4 repeats because I just kind of like knitting a shorter leg. I don't even know if I like wearing a shorter leg. I just don't like knitting a long leg, especially since these are so narrow. I'm afraid if I make them too long, they won't fit me. So normally I do 60 stitches, and this is 56 stitches. And I easily could have added those other 4 stitches and just had like extra knits here on either side. I totally should have done that, I think. If I ever make these again for myself, I will do that. I just didn't want to make the 64 stitch size because that would have been too loose for me. I think these will still fit fine. They are quite stretchy, so it shouldn't be a problem. But I'm really liking how this worked up. I was worried, here's what it looks like in stockinette. It's a little, you can see the yarn a little better. I was worried that this would be too busy for the pattern, and it is a little busy. You don't see the pop of the pattern as much in some of the other sample socks that I saw, but I think it still looks really, really nice, and I'm having a lot of fun. I'm gonna move this light closer. Ooh, not in the frame. I'm having a lot of fun with this pattern. I actually started, I actually worked on these at a Stars game. I actually started this pattern at the Stars game and was able to follow it there. It's not a short repeat, but it's definitely readable. And by that, I mean, I don't have it memorized, like how many stitches to do in what rows, but I can read the knitting and figure out what to do. So I think it's definitely a readable pattern. It's really fun, and this will just carry on down the foot. So I'm having a lot of fun with those. And I added in this marker is from Molly Klein Designs. And it's just has loose glitter in it. I think it just worked. They're little star-shaped confetti glitter. I think it just works perfectly with this yarn. So I'm gonna move down. I'm actually on like the second row of the Fish Lips Kiss heel. The pattern does have a heel flopping gusset, but I'm putting in my Fish Lips Kiss heel because that's the one that I enjoy doing. The other thing that I have been working on this week is my Like a Cloud cardigan. And I have put a little more work on it. And I am now off of the main part of the body and onto the ribbing. So I'm in the middle of a row again. Darn it. Okay. It's fine. But this is my Like a Cloud cardigan, which is just called Like a Cloud. It's by Joji Locatelli, and it's a lovely texture with mohair and lace yarn, and I have my labels again. So I am using 2 different colors. The Silk Cloud, which is the mohair, is graphite, and they're both shabui. The Sima is called tar. Graphite and tar, and they're just working up so nicely. And I am on the ribbing, and I just started on it. I was at Knitty Natty on Saturday for the yarn crawl, and I got started on it then, and it seems to move quite a bit faster than the pattern. It's just a 2x2 ribbing, so I'm excited to keep working on that and hopefully be onto the sleeves here pretty soon. Now, even though I just started another pair of socks on Sunday, I already know what I want to make next. So the Crazy Sock Lady Designs, or Kay from Crazy Sock Lady, had a birthday sale on Sunday, and there were 2 of her sock patterns that I had been wanting. One was Whispers in the Wind, which I guess I'd been wanting it for like a day or 2 because it was brand new. And the other one was her heel toe do-si-do socks, which are a really cute, like almost chevron looking pattern for self-striping yarn. So since Halloween is coming up and that pattern, I just got the pattern, I think what I'm gonna do next is this little sock set here. So this I got a couple years ago when I was on the Best Little Yarn Crawl, or the sometimes called like Hill Country Yarn Crawl. And I picked up this yarn at Brazen, or no, I'm sorry, I don't remember where I picked it up, but the yarn is dyed by Brazen Stitchery, and they dyed it for the shop. So let's see. Oh, it's at Inskane. Is it called Inskane? I think the shop might be called Inskane, but they Brazen Stitchery dyed this just for the shop. So it's like crazy fun colors, and it's a self-striping yarn, and it came with a mini. So I am excited to get those worked up in the heel toe do-si-do pattern. I already got my next pair of socks picked out, which I don't always do. I usually just come and see what inspires me, but I think I'm ready for some more Halloween knitting. Okay, so let's go onto the Ask Me thread. Hold on, I'm gonna bend down and get my computer. Again, I need a bigger table down here. But the Ask Me questions come from a Ravelry thread that I have called Ask Me. So just go to the Love and Stitches Ravelry group and you can pop a question in there. So I'm gonna answer 2 questions this week. There's a couple more still on there that I will get to soon. But the first one is from the Crafty Commuter. And she asks, she said, "Hi Natalie, I was wondering what you're going to be knitting when you go to watch the Dallas Stars this year." So that was really an appropriate question because I went to a Stars preseason game on Monday and they lost, but it's okay, it's just a preseason. And I was knitting on my Whispers in the Wind socks while I was there. But I had a specific project for games last year. I actually brought it down with me, and it was these Dallas Stars socks. And they've got like dog hair and stuff on them because I pulled them out of the dirty socks pile. Oops. But I knit these last year. This is a yarn that I got custom dyed from Rain's Obsessive Stitchery. If you are interested, I believe she can still dye it for you. I'm not 100% sure because I did get these a couple years ago. Or I got this yarn, yeah, I think a couple years ago, but I just knit the socks last season. And I think we named them Victory Park and the Hanger. The Hanger is where you can go and buy your Dallas Stars and Dallas Mavericks gear. But I cast these on during the NHL draft last summer, And my plan was to work on them during Stars games. But what really ended up happening is that I would bring whatever project I was most interested in or had a deadline for to the Stars games and work on that instead. So I barely worked on these. It took me all season, even though I did knit them only at Stars games. And we went to a lot of Stars games. So really, I just didn't really work on them until the end of the season in the playoffs and stuff. I worked on these socks and got them finished. So I think because of that, instead of picking a project to bring with me like throughout the season, I'm just gonna bring whatever I am working on at the moment. Probably I will bring socks because, you know, when you're sitting in those seats, you have to kind of keep your elbows like in between the little armrests, and it's not super comfortable. Especially if you have a big project. So something small that I would never hold my hands up this high, but I usually keep my hands down low, but I can keep my elbows together and knit on. Socks are the perfect thing for that. So I'll probably just bring whatever I am working on at the moment to the Stars games. But I also bring my knitting to football games as long as it's not too hot. So I'll probably bring socks to those as well. And then the other question I'm going to answer is from Poppy and Buck, who's my friend Alana. And she has a couple questions. She said, I would love to know, 1, do you set goals for the amount of projects you would like to knit or crochet each year? So I'm going to do that one first. So sort of, I don't set a number goal except for like the number of projects I'm going to complete, except on Ravelry. And Ravelry has a feature, I think it's in projects, where you can say like, I want to make X number of projects this year. So usually, I've only done it the past 2 years. I'll start out by saying, I want to knit or crochet 25 projects this year. And 25 for me is a pretty low number. It just, you know, for you that might be a high number. But 25 is pretty low for me. So I sometimes, like the past few years, I will like meet that goal and then I'll increase it from there. So like last year, I think I met 25, probably like not quite halfway through the year. And then I increased it to like 40 and then saw if I could meet that. And then I think I hit 40 and then I increased it to 50. So I just kind of, you know, just to see it, I'm not really trying to just finish things, but just to kind of see where I'm at. Like, oh, it's halfway through the year and I've made 20 projects. I bet I could make 20 more. It's just kind of fun to see. And then this year, I think I did the same thing, but I'm actually making a lot, like not as many projects this year, I think because I'm designing more this year. So it's a lot slower of a process, but I think I've hit the 25. I guess I could look really quick right now while I'm talking. But I do keep track of my projects very consistently on Ravelry. If you ever need to look at, notes for a project that I'm talking about, especially if it's a past project, I'm usually pretty good about putting the yarn and the needle size in there, and I try to put notes for any changes I make. And then for socks, I try to put like counts in there, especially if I'm doing it for other people. Okay, so if you go to your Ravelry projects page, you can at the top hit challenge, and then you have I have a goal of completing 40 projects this year. That's the one that I made. So I think I made it 25 and then I hit it to 40. So as of right now, it is September. I have knit or crocheted 28 out of 40 projects. So I'm gonna have to really step it up to complete 12 more projects by the end of the year. But it says you've completed 28 out, or sorry, here, I'll show it to you. You've completed 28 projects out of 40. That's 70% of your goal. That's 70% you're on your way. So it's kind of fun. It's just a personal challenge. If I didn't hit 40, I would probably change my goal to 30. That's the kind of person that I am. Not because I want to feel like, well, it's because I want to feel like I accomplished it and didn't like, I don't know how to explain that. I would change it, but it's not because I can't take the fact that I didn't do it. It's just, I feel like goals should be able to change and adapt with like the path that you're on. At the beginning of the year, I didn't know where I was going to be in September, what I would be working on. And so I think it's perfectly okay to change your goal. So I would probably change it because I'm a checklist person and I like to check things off my list, but not because I felt bad about not reaching my goal. I hope that makes sense. I think it's a fun feature and you should not stress about trying to knit a certain number of projects. Now, as far as socks go, I do have a kind of loose goal of making a pair a month. I used to be a lot better. Last year I was a lot better about casting on in the first couple of days of the month and trying to finish by the time the month was up. But now I just I feel like I'm almost on like a mid-month thing where I'm starting a pair of socks mid-month. I just started a pair on Sunday, so that was about the 14th or something. And I'll probably finish them in about a month. And so I'm kind of on a mid-month thing right now, but I just like to do about a pair a month. That's the only real goal that I kind of stick with. And I'm able to accomplish that because I usually won't cast on another pair of socks until I've finished the pair that I'm working on. So that really helps me move through things. Alana's other question was, how many pairs of socks would you guess you have made total since you started knitting? So I don't have to guess because I have it on Ravelry. It's not a perfect estimate, but I did look back and count up all of my sock projects and I have it written down. So I went through Ravelry and I have been on Ravelry since 2007 or 8. I think either 2007 or 8, maybe 2008. And so that's over 10 years. And so in the past 10 years, I can't exactly pinpoint when I knit my first pair of socks. I want to say it was over 10 years ago. My first pair of socks is not on Ravelry, but I do still have my first pair of socks. That would have been fun if I had brought them to show you guys. So not maybe every project is accounted for, but I did count up all of the pairs of socks I had on Ravelry that were in fingering weight and adult socks. I didn't count any baby socks or socks that were knit in worsted weight. And so total I have exactly 50 pairs of socks, which I thought was kind of cool. 50 pairs exactly. But I also kind of feel like that's not very many I don't feel like it's reflective of how I'm knitting socks now. So I thought, well, maybe that's because I'm knitting a lot more socks since I started doing the one sock a month in 2018. So then I filtered my projects on Ravelry to just 2018 and 19 and counted how many pairs of socks. So I've knit 50 total in my lifetime, but in the past almost 2 years, so wait, 12 months plus 9 months, 21 months. Is this the 9th month? In the past 21 months, I have knit 29 pairs of socks, which is actually great because that means I'm knitting a pair a month. So even though I've only knit 50 over my lifetime, the 29 of them were knit in the past, wait a second, my math is off and terrible. In the past 21 months, I've knit 29 pairs of socks. So I've definitely become more of the sock knitter in the past 2 years than I have been for my lifetime. And it was really interesting to look at that because I would have never done that on my own. So thank you, Alana, for that question. It was I had to be very reflective about that, and it was really interesting. So there's another question, at least one more on there, and I will get to those next week. Now I have a couple of announcements with my Love and Stitches business and everything. So the first one is that my pattern Louisiana Street came out last Friday. And I just have to say thank you to everyone who has purchased the pattern. It has definitely been my most successful pattern to date, and it was really exciting. I got to go to Knitty Natty last Saturday, which is who the design is named after. It's the shop that I designed Louisiana Street for. They're on Louisiana Street. So I got to go to the shop. My shawl is on display there with Long Dog yarn. And I got to talk to some people who were purchasing yarn for the shawl and kind of, tell them all about the features of the shawl. And it was really, really fun. So that was exciting. Thank you, Knitty Natty, for having me there. Mostly I was just hanging out in the back with my friends and knitting, but it was still fun to kind of see people shopping for my pattern. And that pattern is, the love letter video is up. That coupon code is still good. And I just wanted to say, if you have trouble finding the coupon code when you've watched the video, there's 2 things you can do, because I have had some people say they had a little bit of trouble. One, do not worry about it because it's just for fun. I'm not trying to stress you out by looking for the coupon code. You can always feel free to email me or message me on Instagram. Say you watch the video and you can't find the code for the life of you, just let me know. Not a big deal. Toaster says he's sorry for interrupting and he might do it again. Are you gonna be good? Are you gonna be a good boy? He's just looking at me. But anyway, if you have any trouble getting that coupon code, please don't be stressed about it. You can message me, you can email me, or if you are a Ravelry group member, when the pattern comes out, I put a little, what is it called? A post, like on a thread. I start a thread and link to all the videos about that pattern. If there's tutorials, I link to the love letter, but I also put a coupon code in the Ravelry group. So if you're a Ravelry group member, that is a privilege that you have. A benefit of being a member is that you get the coupon code there, so that if you want to watch the video, you can, but you aren't required to do so. So don't stress about that. That coupon code on the love letter is still good for another week. And then the Ravelry coupon code, same thing, it's good for another week. Also, I have had some more tutorials come out. I am still working through my basic knits and basic crochet series. So now for basic crochet, we have slip knot, chain right and left-handed, single crochet right and left-handed, and half double crochet right and left-handed. I recorded the double crochet videos yesterday, I believe. So those will be up next week, and potentially I will do a triple treble, not triple treble, triple slash treble, triple treble, something else, video as well. And then my basic knit series also begins with the slip knot stitch, and then, or slip knot, not slip knot stitch, and then long tail cast on, knit stitch continental and English, and purl stitch continental and English. And the next video coming out for that one on Tuesday is combining knitting and purling. So I know that a lot of you here are already experienced in those things, but you might have someone in your life that needs a tutorial for one of those things. Maybe they're a knitter learning to crochet or a crocheter learning to knit. So those are out there for you guys, and I've been having a lot of fun doing them. I am going to be super excited when I'm not releasing 4 videos a week, which is my own fault for creating that idea in my head, because once I get an idea, I just gotta roll with it, because there's too many tutorials and videos I want to create, so I need to get these basic ones done because I'm excited for the next ones. Okay, so I have some exciting news. I have been working on another place for you guys to buy Love and Stitches patterns. So right now I'm only selling on Ravelry, and I love Ravelry for so many reasons. I love it as a consumer. I love it as a seller. It's made for knitting and crochet, and it caters to that. And other websites just don't do that. But I did want to have an option for those of you who do not buy on Ravelry for one reason or another. So I have created an Etsy shop, and I'm so excited. I'm still working on it, but it is different than Ravelry. It's a marketplace for all kinds of makers, not just knitters and crocheters. And so things are set up a little bit differently there, but you will be able to view several different pictures of the pattern and see the description before you buy. And on Etsy, you also get a direct download, and I believe you have access to your downloads through the Etsy site should your computer ever crash or something. Something I need to research a little bit more, but my patterns will be the same price on Ravelry and Etsy, and so those are available to you now. And so to celebrate my Etsy shop, I am doing a sale. So all of my patterns that are on Etsy are 30% off now, and we'll run that sale for a week or 2. I'll decide. I'll decide later what I'm gonna do, but you don't have to enter anything for an Etsy sale. It's just 30% off when you go to check out. So go over there and check it out. And if you've been waiting to get any of my patterns, they are 30% off now for another while, week or two. But I also have one more announcement. I have, a long time ago, not that long ago, less than 2 years ago, I started a blog. That's actually where I started before. I guess I started with Instagram, but then I got a blog. That's where I kind of started chatting about knitting and crochet and life and other things. And I was in a pretty good routine of posting once a week for, I don't know, about 9 months. And then I started to feel like kind of just tired about posting on my blog, and I was getting more excited about making videos. I think that's around the time that Instagram TV came out, or IGTV. So that's when I started making my weekly videos. Then when they were on IGTV, they were of course vertical and they were only 10 minutes. But once I started doing that, I was less interested in doing my blog, and so I had less and less frequent posts on my blog. And then once I started on YouTube, I really kind of just like dropped off the blog thing. And I haven't posted on there since April, which is it's just awful. So I think I'm ready to get back into the blogging game, but I wanted my blog to be more of a website. I wanted it to be like a place I could send people as a resource that was linked to all of my different areas. So I wanted it to have my YouTube tutorials. I wanted to have my podcast on there. I wanted it to have my patterns on there. I wanted to be able to sell. So I'm really excited. My website is fresh and relaunched. I don't have a new blog post yet. That's something I do need to work on. But my website is now, it's clean and pretty and simple. At the top, you can find out more information about me and my story, how I started knitting and crocheting. You can also get like linked to my podcast, which you're already here, so you wouldn't need that. But if I did send somebody there, they could link to my podcast, they could link to my video tutorials. I do have some blog tutorials on there that are linked. And just kind of navigate all the different sites that I'm on from one spot. But the thing that is exciting, I think, is that you can also purchase my patterns on there. Now, this is sort of the option you have if you are not a fan of Ravelry or Etsy and you still want to buy my patterns. This is where you can go to my website. So it's not as interactive. There's only one picture that I'm able to provide and a small description. I included the description of the pattern and the yarn and needles required. But of course, if you had any questions before buying, you could email me and ask me. And then the way that I can accept payments is only through PayPal. So it's really easy for you. You just click the next to the pattern that you want and purchase it, and then within 24 hours I will send you the PDF. So it is not available for direct download. I don't have like a full-blown website yet, just a simple payments button, but that is a way for you to purchase patterns from me. So now there's 3 ways: on Ravelry, on Etsy, and on my blog/website. So in creating all of these things this week, it's been a really busy week. I started kind of diving into I started kind of thinking about where does your money go when you buy a pattern? And of course, that's important for me because I have to think about pricing my patterns and the cost of fees, and then what I am actually receiving. All right, we'll try again. But I have to think about what I'm actually, charging for my patterns and then what I'm receiving. So it's very important for me to understand that breakdown as a seller. But I also think it's really important as a consumer to know exactly where your money is going, especially with Ravelry and Etsy both having sort of policies that can be controversial or are controversial, and there's people on both sides that like one or the other or neither because of those policies. So I wanted to share with you guys what happens with your money when you buy a pattern from me. When you click pay on Ravelry and you spend $6 on a shawl, what does that actually mean? Where does it actually go? And I was gonna share it on the podcast, but then I started to realize it was kind of a lot of information. So I think I'm gonna make a separate video that breaks down when you buy a pattern on Ravelry, this is what happens with your dollar that you spend. When you buy a pattern on Etsy, here is where that money goes. When you buy a pattern on my website, what does that actually look like? So if you're interested in that, I think I'm gonna make the video already, but you can let me know if that's something that's interesting to you, or maybe any questions that you have about that. I'm gonna try to break it down in a not boring way and kind of like go through it pretty quickly, but I still think it deserves its own video because as a consumer and as a seller, these are really important things to understand. So yeah, I'm excited about my website. I'm excited about my Etsy store. I already have Ravelry going. So now you've got those 3 options. My video explaining those different sites probably won't be out for a while because I am in the middle of my basics series. But I think that'll be a good one. So watch for it here. Okay, so now I just have a little bit of life stuff to talk about. I have got a new haircut. I don't know if you can tell, my hair is quite a bit shorter. It was probably about down to like maybe right here and not quite as nice on the ends here. So I got a haircut this week, which is great. I always like my hair like a week or so, maybe 2 weeks after I get it cut. I just think it looks too clean on the ends. It doesn't look like real hair when I first get it. But I also noticed that my hair is getting so dark. When I was a kid, I was like a towhead. My hair was blonde as could be. So were all of my siblings, were all blonde. And my parents also said that they were blonde when they were kids, but I had a hard time believing them because they both have, my dad has like lighter brown hair and my mom has very, very dark hair, like almost black. And she gets her hair highlighted, so it's hard to tell, but we tell her, like, their hair here, it's black, Mom. It's really dark. But they were both blondes as kids, and I couldn't even believe it. And over the years as I've grown up, my hair has slowly gotten darker, but all of a sudden, I feel like it is just, like, I don't feel like I'm just barely holding on to blonde now. And I don't dye my hair highlighted. I used to. But so I think I'm going to get to that point soon where I'm going to want to start either going lighter again or darker just because, I don't know, this color is okay. It's my natural color and it's easy and that's really nice, but I kind of have found myself thinking maybe I want to go more blonde again. Like in college and high school, I had blonde highlights, so it's keeping my hair nice and blonde. But yeah, it is just so dark. It's been like 5 years that I haven't done any color on my hair. So this is definitely my natural color, but it's still getting darker. So interesting. It's just interesting how that happens. Like, how does my hair get darker? What is happening inside of there that's making this happen? I also it's been a week of appointments. I got new contacts, which is so exciting because I was really having a hard time seeing. That's because my prescription had changed in the past year. So when I went into my eye doctor and I took my contacts out, I was like, where are we going? Like, I was having a really hard time seeing. And they did, those initial exams. I hate that puff of air in your eye. And when I went in to see the doctor, she said, how are you doing? And I'm like, I can't see. I'm like, my contacts are not enough. And she just like immediately nodded and was like, yep, your prescription has definitely changed. Like, let's get to work on getting you something better. So I'm so happy. This is the first day I've worn my new contacts. I can see so much better, and that is really nice. Maybe next time I should trust myself and go in earlier. It's a busy time at work right now. We are into our first round of testing happening next week, and the preparation for that testing is harder than the testing itself. Once the test, part of my role as a testing coordinator that I share with another awesome teacher, we have been working together now. This is our second year doing this, and we're like the dream extreme team. And we were just like knocking stuff out today, getting it done. But man, it is stressful before the tests. When it's actually testing time, I think the pressure transfers to the teachers, and we just have to like keep everyone calm, keep everything going, running smoothly, and it's a lot better for us. So it's just, there's just a lot going on. And I think I keep saying that, but it is true. And more seems to keep on coming. So I'm happy every week to sit down and do this though. I would not miss it. But I think that's it, you guys. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you again next week.